Hi, this is the presentation of the project of the CS5200 database system management, and our project is online meal order system. My name is Grant Chen. Thank you. For the introduction of the online meal order system, is a web application. The user just need to open a browser, insert the website, and they will reach our web page. They just need to register an account and log in, and they will be able to use any service they need. And for our application, they allow users to search the restaurant by their demand, such as like the cuisine, the restaurant address, and it also stores users' information, such as like the username, password, email address, and the user also can create a friend group which allow the members can share their information of the history order, such as like the mail information and the restaurant information. Now I want to introduce the structure of our system. First, we create a database which used to store the user information such as the username, password, email address, and if the user do the checkout this action, we will be able to store the information of the order, such as the restaurant ID, meal ID, and the cost and the order date. So we create an empty MySQL database named the restaurant. You just need to empty because we will generate the table from the JPA through the online meal orders package on the Eclipse. For the online meal order package, we create the class files which used to generate a table to the MySQL database. Some files include the A tag entity, which told the JPA this class will generate a table to the MySQL database, and NameQuery, which is a way to implement the MySQL script function to the Java. And the file also includes the ID and the relationship with the other class, which is very needed to the database information. File also included the constructors, which allow us to use it in the future and also override it. And we also write down some functions that we will need it to use it later. So it is the UML diagram of our MySQL database. So you can see the relationship between each class, each table. So for example, the relationship between the users and orders, it will be one-to-many because one user can have the many different orders, but this order ID only can refer to an user. And there is the different situation between the users and friend groups. It's like a user can participate different friend groups, and one friend group can include different users. So the relationship between the user and the friend group should be many to many. Now I want to talk a little bit of our code. So the first example is user.java. You can see at the above of the code is add entity, which tells the JPA we will need it to generate tables from the user.java list file. Add name queries, which included the MySQL script, which allow us to manipulate some action from the MySQL. And you can see the ID, which is auto-generated. And then we set up the relationship between the user and the other classes. For example, A tag one-to-many, which means the relationship between the user to the orders is one-to-many. And we also write down the functions that will be needed, which is like get ID, set ID, and get username, set username, such as like that. And for this example, it's also the same. It's like just set the function we will need it to use. And you can see the code of the right is the constructor of the user, which allows the other class can use the variable from the user class. Okay, so this is card item.java. You can see this file doesn't include it like a tag entity. That means this file doesn't need it to generate table to the MySQL database. So I only write down the function, the set and get function, and also the constructor of the card item, this file. For the shopping cart.java, it's a function-based file. We use the hash table to store and manage the information from the cart item. So you can see the function like add item and remove item, or remove all items from the shopping cart. And for this part, it's just another part of the shopping cart.java. So you can see the update quantity function and get enumeration and get cost, get the number of items. So let's offer the shopping cart.java, this file. This is our MySQL database status. You can see after auto-generating the tables from the Eclipse through the Eclipse link and JPA, you can see that's all the tables we got. Now it's time for the next package. The next package is about the data access object, which we call the DAO package. This package is used to interaction with the database, such as gathering information or storing information to a database. And the DAO file involves the variable from the previous package, which is the online meal order package, like the user.java. You will have to use like the user, set the user variable, and override it. The user.java is an example that I use to describe the files in the DAO package. So first of all, you can see the entity manager factory equals persistence dot create entity manager factory spoonfook. Spoonfook is the project name from the Eclipse, and the entity manager is to arrange the data from the Java code to the MySQL side. And so you can see the function create user. So the EM is the entity manager equals factory.create entity manager, and en.transcation begin. That means it will start to transit the data to the MySQL database, and en.persist user. That means it's the user table in the MySQL database that we will target. And finish. And after you persist the data to the table you wanted, you just need to like get transcation.committed. That means you finish the transcation, and you have to close the entity manager after all. You will find the function below, which is user find user by the username. So this function is the name query we set in the user.java, but the query function is nothing to do with the Java side. So we will have to make the transcation to submit your comment to the MySQL database and gathering information, then send it back to the Java side. Now I'm moving forward to the servlet file. So the servlet files can establish the connection between the website and also the database side. So it's like a data transcation center and a connection center between the web and the database. For example, like the login page, the user can insert the information from the web page. For here we use the JSP. So the information from JSP will send to the servlet, and servlet will request the information from the DAO file, And DAO file will use the entity manager to retrieve the information from the MySQL database, and to see the information that user apply is matched or not of the data we store in the database. So for the servlet part is a very important part for our project. The example I use to explain the servlet package is the register servlet.java. It's because if the user will use our service, then their first step is the register. So you can look at the library we import. We use the java.input-output and the javax.servlet library. And we also import the DAO file from the DAO package and the user data and the user class from the online meal order package. And the reason we import the javax.mail is because we will send and greet mail after the user register. Now, it's the core part of the register servlet file. You can see the do-get function. This function is used to request the information from the JSP. And you can see we use the user.DAO, which means we create a variable from the user.DAO class and to compare the information from the JSP and also from the MySQL database is matched or not. You can see the first if function is to determine the information that received from the JSP is correct or not. If the username is empty, password is empty, or the email is empty, that means the register status will fail. For the second part is we create a user equals user.find user by the username and compare to the username. So this means it will compare the username from the JSP insert and will there be the same username already stored in the MySQL database or not. So if user is not equal now, that means they already have a same username stored in the MySQL database, so the register status will fail. Let's move on to the next part of the code. So if the information are all acceptable and there is no duplicate name stored in the MySQL database, then that means the information that user insert is acceptable. So we will call the user.createUser function to pull the information through the entity manager to the MySQL database, and it will show the register status success to the Java server page. The next part of code is the greeting mail. You can see we send the greeting mail through the Gmail account by use stamped and use the javax.mail authenticator to input our username and password to enter the Gmail server. And the mail message is the message we will send to the user. You can see the subject and the text. If user exists, then the message.add recipient will operate it, and then it will transport that send message to the user's email address, and then response and redirect to the login page. The next part is doPost function. It's also generated from the Eclipse. The final part of code is the JSP. JSP is a Java server page. Is a format of the dynamic web page. It can generate the dynamic content by giving information through the Java code, and it also contains the HTML part They allow the programmers to set a static content like using the BR tag to set the text information, and they will exist statically. The login JSP is the example I set for the JSP part. So you can see the above code is HTML, and the code in the middle of two percent symbol is a Java code that will generate the dynamic content. If the user didn't insert any information, so they will just print out, please enter the username and password. And if the information is not correct, it will print out the invalid username or password. And for the HTML code of the button, it will generate an input label for the username and the password, and also a submit button. And that's the login part of our project. And this is the register part of our project, the same as the login part I just showed you.